call it a shortage when you're talking about patio furniture. I feel like that word should be like reserved for like things that are necessary. Like, is it really a shortage when we're talking about patio furniture?
I mean, yeah, 90% of patio furniture is just made out of plastic, which is stopping you from making more.
I just I just don't get the idea of like it's just the biggest fucking white person fucking or first world problem I've ever heard of in my life. We have a patio furniture shortage. Why am I having so much trouble getting those words out? Patio furniture shortage. It doesn't. It actually is kind of hard to say. But like that. What a shortage? Like a shortage implies that people really need these things and they can't get it. And while we all might like
Yeah.
to sit out on our patio and have our nice plastic patio furniture, is it really a
Maybe a
shortage?
mint
Is
julep.
this really something that we need? Like, there's people that don't have food. Like, oh my god, I can't get my fucking lawn set. You know, like whatever. Like, I couldn't even find
Yeah.
an umbrella to go with my table.
I mean, yeah. Like, I feel like this is just news fluff because it's the middle of summer. We just had the 4th of July. Like, yeah, this is the time when people buy that kind of thing. Like, so it's not really surprising that supplies might have gotten low at Walmart for a
Well,
few
now they
weeks.
said it could go all the way to 2023. Apparently, that's what they said.
For why? For what? For what reason? I need to know the logistics of what is. Did all the molds for the plastic chairs break? Like, what happened?
You know what? Now that you just said it's making me wonder. What if this like not only is a fluff piece, they're just trying to like get people to go out and buy. Like it's an ad in the news. You know, they just want people to go
Yeah.
out. Like how people were rushing to buy toilet paper in the pandemic. You know, they're like they want people rushing to the store to buy like patio furniture so they can inflate the prices because of this shortage that we're having.
Yeah, it's like the imaginary gas shortage that we had not too long ago, where it's like supplies would have been fine if everyone didn't freak out about it. Maybe they just took a note from that, like, oh, there's a shortage on plastic chairs. You better go buy a bunch. Like, okay,
Well, I mean, yeah, and it wasn't an imaginary gas shortage, but you're absolutely right. Like, why it got to the point it did was because of our terrible human nature to go, oh, I got to go fill up fucking 50 barrels for myself, you know, like,
hmm.
because, like, I can't understand that it's not that we're out of gas. It's just simply it's going to take more time to get gas from there to here. You know, like, we're
Hmm.
just going to have to wait till tomorrow because the pipeline isn't working. You know,
Right.
like that's all it was. It wasn't like we're out of gas. Get as much as you can because you're not going to be able to go to work. But
Yeah.
there was a shortage.
Well, yeah. I by saying it was imaginary, I didn't mean that there wasn't a problem with the. I knew the pipeline was shut down, but we still had the same amount of gas. It was just like a supply issue. But we would have been more or less fine if people didn't freak out to the extent that they did and start filling shopping bags full of it.
Yeah, yeah. I think like because I don't really have to. I just found it so funny to call something like patio furniture like a shortage. So I don't have much more to go off of that.
Mm.
But this brings me to something else. Like I've seen, this is a bit of a jump from topic to topic, but it's I'm starting to feel that like our largest like detriment to everything in society is simply the fact that we have like all the information at our fingertips. So
Mm.
with this pipeline breaking down, I kind of wonder like if that would have been a more regional issue and if people like it is a big deal and the pipeline is obviously more of a national issue than a local issue, but it did only affect like certain states. It didn't affect like 3/4 of the country, you know, but
Mm.
everybody's hearing about that and that probably caused ripple effects throughout the country and like prices went up everywhere. And so this is where it's a bit of a jump, like, but it's just a point I wanted to make on today's show. So I keep seeing this sentiment of like how all these atrocities were hidden for years and years and years. And I 100% agree that our government has committed a lot of atrocities and they've like proactively tried to hide them. like against the Native Americans, everything against, like, obviously we know about slavery, but there's, things that go on beyond that, or post-slavery, that have happened. But I feel like there's this sentiment in our world that people think that throughout time we've all been tied to a box with all the answers, like, all the time. Like, that everybody had this access to information, like, about everything that's going on in the world at all times, like going back into like the 50s. So we get, like, when people get like mad about boomers, or like why they want to hold on to the like things that they were taught in school, and why there's like this disconnect, and they're like, but America's great and America's always been great, and they're wrong. Like, the boomers that say those sort of things, that don't want to update our education system, like, they're absolutely wrong. But the people who talk shit, like, how did you not know that this was going on? How did you not know that there was all these boarding schools in Canada and America that were, like, committing genocide against Native Americans? You people have been hiding this for years and years and years. And again, like, our federal government to some degree, for sure. But, like, the way that this is conversated about is, like, I'm not just going to say, like, all white people, but, like, all people of a certain age were involved in this scheme to stop people from learning, like, about these things that happen. And it's like, well, no, they just learned about what they were taught, and that's all they fucking know. They didn't have the internet at their fingertips to look up every little thing that happened over the years. Like, and this is really the point of my story, is like, we need to start having an understanding that, like, it used to be that people just learned what they were taught, and you couldn't just jump onto a computer and, like, do deep diving research. You only had the books that were in your local library. You only had the people that were around you. So I just think, like, if we want to be smarter about how we talk about history, we should get away from the idea of, like, that it's been hidden, and talk more about that we should be really happy that we now have access to this information, so that we can share the stories and we can actually, like, be informed about them, instead of everybody being butthurt, like, how did we not do something about this 100 years ago? Because people could hide information 100 years ago. Now we know, now we can, like, actually be responsible about it. But do we need to go and take out everybody in history, like, along the way? I don't think so. I really don't think so.
Sure. I definitely get what you're saying, and I don't think you're wrong. One thing I would add to that is I think that there's still a lot of information hiding going on, or information skewing. But to your point, it is easier to, even though that this whole, like, do your own research kind of movement is usually coming from a bad place when you hear it in society now. But all the same, I mean, like, just as an example, I saw, this was a few years ago already, but someone had taken a picture of their kid's textbook. It was like a history textbook. And it said that when the Pilgrims came to to North America, the natives agreed to move so that the white people would have a place to live. Like, goddamn, is that not just whitewashing history right there? So
no, so I'm not trying to say that doesn't exist. That's not at all my point. My point is actually, you're actually kind of in a way proving my point to a degree. Because what we're talking about here is, like, that was a book that was given to people, and now we're trying to blame the people who were taught out of that book. And I'm saying, like, let's be a little bit more kind towards the like, yes, our scholars should be talking about these things. Yes, our textbooks need to represent them. Yes, our federal government hides all kinds of shit that they did. I mean, we know how many, not exactly how many, but we know they were hiding Nazis in South America to work for the CIA. We're not going to, so, like, there's
Project Paperclip,
all sorts of shit going on. But what I'm saying is, like, there's people that just got taught out of these programs that are now being blamed for the bad shit that they were taught, and I just think that what we should understand is that, like, back, even 30 years ago, you couldn't just get a textbook, then look it up online and find new information to go along with it. You had what you had, and that's all you could learn about a topic,
Right.
So, like, it's just it's not the idea to say that people who want history to come out as it actually happened, they're absolutely right. I don't mean to sound at all like I'm saying that that's wrong. What I'm saying is, like, let's blame the right people and let's be a little more kind to the people who have been misled and not
Mm.
think that they're part of the conspiracy.
Right. No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I mean, there's when people only had limited information, that's what they knew. But it's important to, instead of jumping on their ass now and accusing them of always just being in on the conspiracy to, hide all the horrible shit that's happened, maybe just try to come in a little softer and be like, hey, I know you were taught this, but that's wrong. This is actually what happened.
100%. I wasted 5 minutes rambling, but that's the point. If we were to put it in, maybe I didn't waste them, but that if I were to put the point into a 10-second clip, whatever it is, however long that was, that's the point. 100%. Just like,
That's what I'm here for.
I ramble and then you say it back in a more, concise way. It's a really nice system we got going on here. That's perfect.
Speaking of great American history, did you do anything for the 4th?
No, I didn't do shit. I really it was weird because the 4th of July has been my favorite holiday for my entire adult life, pretty much. I used to throw some really great parties and really get into it, and this year I was just kind of in a funk throughout the weekend. But I enjoyed it. I took the extra time off and I just chilled. I watched sports and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of it, and I'm not going to go into too long of a political diatribe here, but, it was just like, wow, I didn't feel anything towards it this year. And I started to realize, like, it's because it's really just in the situation our country is in and how divided things are. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what I'm celebrating. Not that I don't love our country, not that I don't love, like the celebration, but yeah, no, it left me with after the insurrection, 4th of July left me with a very weird taste in my mouth. I'll put it concisely like that. So that was my 4th of July. What'd you do?
Not terribly much. When we recorded last time, it was a day or two before, and I had mentioned I got my second COVID shot. So we had our fireworks here on the 3rd, and I felt pretty terrible all day. But by the time the fireworks went off, or they started around like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and I was feeling okay enough to at least walk over the park where they fire them off, like just down the street from me. So I walked over there, and it was nice. Just, even though, again, I'm very much the same way, where not just this year, but for a while now, it's like, well, I don't know what I'm celebrating with this anymore. But it was just, cool to just sit there and take it in. But just on the topic of the 4th, I was seeing a bunch of commercials in the week prior to the 4th that were from Budweiser advertising their patriotic cans. Like, this is some hot commodity that you need to go and like buy Budweiser because they put red, white, and blue on their fucking beer can. And it made me think, like, do people still collect beer cans? Because, like, I've never done that in my life. I know, like, my grandparents' basement was, like, all of the rafters had tons of different, like, old-style beer cans. Not specifically old-style the beer, but old-fashioned beer cans, like, all over the place. But I just don't, is that still a thing? Do people still do that?
I mean, I've known people my age that do it, and I'm older now, so I don't know if people still do it. The other day I was watching a game and I was in a chat and I saw somebody say, who even drinks alcohol anymore in 2021, So like these young kids, while they're doing their DMT dab pens,
that's quite the Zoomer compliment, or not compliment, comment is what I meant.
Yeah. So I can't speak for I know. I mean, I collected the hell out of them. It even started when I was a kid. My uncle would always give me like the special beer cans. Like I had one in my where I kept all my baseball cards and shit like that. My collectibles. I remember I had a Packers Super Bowl 31 and a Super Bowl 32 like commemorative Miller Lite can. That weren't open, and I had those for like 15 years, and I always wanted to open them just to see what happens to a beer 15 years, but I never did, and I actually don't remember where they came from. But my uncle was